Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And we have something very interesting to talk about today. We are going to be addressing ISO 20022, Swift. You know, we're going to obviously talk about Ripple and XRP, but we are also going to talk about so much more happening behind the scenes. And I do think all of the attention right now should be on what's happening with Swift. And I think that it's been a major focus of mine ever since going all the way back to March of last year and even previously beforehand, because, you know, Swift is a big player around the traditional system. When we have 11,000 plus financial institutions assigned to the Swift network, it's a very, very large network to be playing a role in the traditional payment flow. So as we look at Swift, we know going all the way back to 2022, we've seen things change a little bit. So this is a Bloomberg article. Now, I don't have the full article here because I'm not going to pay them, but we do see central banks should build post-Swift highways. There may be more than one new platform that comes into existence, but the current infrastructure is way past its sell-by date. And we did see the first sentence here. It's actually very interesting on this first sentence, or I should say even like the first breakdown here. Even without the war in the Ukraine, correspondent banking using the SWIFT messaging system was going downhill. By cutting off some Russian lenders' access to the communication channel, politicians have put central banks on notice. They need to find a safer alternative for companies and individuals who send funds across borders. Now, to me personally, yes, I do think that this is very beneficial for Ripple, and I also think that's very beneficial for XRP. But outside of this, it does beg the question, like, will Swift still be around within the next couple years? If they will be, I do believe that they will be utilizing something where they are going to use complementary technology, maybe RippleNet with XRP, which I will talk about. But ultimately, it's the question on, like, is Swift even still a viable option, considering the fact that we are seeing de-dollarization at a rapid pace? And we are also seeing Swift themselves, you know, being a big proponent within the push against the dollar, because remember, Swift is a US-based network. Although, yes, as we do look at, you know, how the world works still, we are still seeing the US dollar being the reserve currency. But the question is for how long? We have been seeing a major fight back against Swift, and I think that this is only going to be a continuous trend, very similar to de-dollarization. Now, with this, I want to go back in time and I want to talk about a few things. So here you have Finastra. I'm sure that a lot of you already know about Finastra. And you know what's funny about this is that I didn't even notice until now, but this was from London. And we know that London is a key player right now around a lot of things happening with Ripple, which I just made a video on. But nonetheless, we do see Ripple to bring blockchain technology to Finastra's banking customers. This goes all the way back to 2019. Now, we do see Ripple, the enterprise blockchain solution for global payments, and Finastra have teamed up to offer Ripple's blockchain technology through Finastra's payment solutions to support fast cross-border payments. As part of the collaboration, Finastra's customers will be able to connect and transact with RippleNet partners, more than 200 financial institutions worldwide, and in turn, partners can access Finastra's vast global footprint. So, yeah, I think that this is huge. Because as we look at a lot of these collaborations from going all the way back to 2017, 2018, and even before that as well, all of them were centered out on fintech giants like Finastra. This is a huge company, by the way. Like, this is much larger than what most people anticipate. But if you go and look at their about section, you guys can find out. It's like, I forgot the number myself, honestly. But I know it's in the thousands when you go and actually look at how large this company is. So yeah. Like I said, 8.1 thousand customers from global banks to credit unions, 84 of the top 100 banks. Like, this is a giant. But if we look at some of the offerings here and we look at the white papers around some of this stuff, and shout out to ISO 20022, let's do it over on Twitter. We do see Fusion Total Messaging 8.0 annual update 2022 will be the final readiness release before the start of Fin ISO 20022 coexistence in November of 2022. It will be able to handle messages from Swift Transaction Manager that send ISO 20022 as well as multi-format messages, FIN and ISO 20022. This is very interesting to me, and I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why here in a second. But first, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about this number 4 section down here as well. So we do see CBPR plus full migration project. By November 2025, payment systems and any other connected back office systems processing impacted FIN messages need to be ISO 20022 enabled, or a permanent translation solution must be put in place. Now, as we look at this is all centered out on Fusion Total Messaging. And you might be wondering, Nick, what are you even talking about with this? Well, I will address that here in a second. Here you guys have it. Finastra and Ripple. Fact sheet, payments connectivity marketplace. Manage cross-border payments easier with RippleNet via Fusion Total Messaging. And here you have the full, let me open this up in a new tab real quick, because this is actually very interesting. So down here, let's compare and contrast both of these. So here we have the bottom layer down here, and you can see all of the information needed. You can see the interface itself. And then look at the interface down here with Ripple. Let me zoom in just so that you guys can see it. So here we have the back office. We have the payment servicing over here with correspondent banking. We have the customer bank over here, payment initiation, all the way to payment servicing. We have the Fusion Total Messaging in here. We also have the RippleNet Cloud as well in here. And this is all through their connectivity. And when you see RippleNet via Fusion Total Messaging allows existing bank systems to route payments efficiently, leveraging instant settlement to transact in seconds instead of days. And we already do see, today, global banks and corporations manage millions of payment messages in message warehouses around the world. As a result, communications with counterparties and operating in multiple currencies, languages, time zones, and regulatory environments introduce risk. Manual intervention further burdens resources and can lead to human error. Banks and corporations need a technology that can eliminate manual intervention, reduce risk, improve efficiency, and perhaps, most importantly, save time and money. And that's where Ripple comes into play. What's crazier about all of this, though, is that when you go back to that initial statement with Ripple and Finastra, we do see at the bottom down there, users will also be able to send international payments with end-to-end tracking and visibility into fees, delivery time, and status, ultimately bringing a major facelift to the SWIFT network. So as we do look at this is the RippleNet via Fusion Total Messaging, going all the way back to December of 2021, manage cross-border payments easier with RippleNet via Fusion Total Messaging. This is still, today, a much bigger thing to focus on than what most people anticipate. And again, you could download this entire fact sheet and you could see everything around this. Here you guys actually have the connectivity marketplace. Down here you have the benefits and the features behind all of this. You could even see interoperability with interbank services, including SWIFT, FIN, FIOACT, Interact, SIC, Euro SIC, CCOM, Fedwire, TCH, RTP, chips. This is literally everything. Any payment network, any payment service, it's all interoperable. And you can see everything around this, from the reduced cost, improves usability, accessibility, and transparency, increases operational efficiency as well. And we do see the why Finastra and Ripple. To me personally, as we look at how big of a game changer this will be, I think that this is something large. And I think that as we look at SWIFT, I think that SWIFT has been losing dominance for a while. And I think that's only a matter of time until they do source the power from Ripple. It just makes sense. In fact, Brad Garlinghouse himself said it perfectly. What do you see over here from Cowboy Crypto, moderator? So you've said before that you think there's a world where Ripple could take over SWIFT. Do you see Brad Garlinghouse? Well, I've also said there are ways we could work with SWIFT. Listen closely.
So you've said before that you think there's a world where Ripple could take over SWIFT.
Well, I've also said I thought there was ways we could work with SWIFT.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I'll start that comment just by saying, look, SWIFT is owned. I think Godfrey, by the way, has a very challenging job. SWIFT is owned by the banks. It isn't a traditionally kind of construct. You have a very strong chairman, and in-house Citi kind of is an important stakeholder in that. But at the end of the day, Ripple's trying to help financial institutions and banks be successful in the future. How do we enable Santander to compete more effectively with PayPal, with Amazon, Facebook? And it's not going to be in settlement times measured in days. It's not going to be measured settlement costs measured in $15+. So I want to see our mission in life really has been, how do we help these financial institutions be successful those are the same financial institutions that own Swift. And so in many ways, we've thought, hey, we could work together. That hasn't played out, and I think increasingly, we are seeing more and more banks adopt Ripple's technology, and we're seeing that play out.
And we even do see down here from David Schwartz going all the way back to, I think that this was 2017, I'm pretty sure. We do see we are very pleased to see payments get faster. Our strategy has been to position XRP as a settlement asset. The faster payments are, the more important it is to that settlement, to be faster and cheap. The main reason we built RippleNet and Xcurrent was because payments were too slow for fast/cheap settlement to matter all that much. If Swift wants to fix payments for us, that's great. It's one less thing we have to do. And it basically is just giving us a little bit of an idea on how digital assets will be utilized for settlement on the Swift network. And it's inevitable at this point. Like, to me personally, I don't think that, we won't see a future where Swift is sourcing digital assets for settlement. In fact, we even do see over here going all the way back to September of last year, Swift wants to provide interoperability between banks, public blockchains for digital assets. I think that they're getting ready to have, digital assets to be leveraged on the Swift network for settlement, for, it could be anything, interoperability, settlement, you name it. And, although, yes, everyone wants to look at this and say, well, no, they're 100% competing with Ripple. They don't want to utilize Ripple at all. I honestly think that it's a very competitive landscape. Listen, payments are very competitive. And, those that do have the best in-house technology will succeed. So if you have no doubt that Ripple with XRP and them sourcing crypto is the most efficient technology out there, then you should have no worry at all, especially around the future with Swift. And yes, as you do look at, what's happening with the SEC, which I do have a video over here from Spiritual over on Twitter. And we do see Utility Theory actually responding saying, and this is why the SEC has chosen to sue Ripple to slow the adoption of XRP as a bridge so that Swift could try and get ahead. Perfect example of old tech versus fintech. But, my thing on it is, I think that Swift has feared Ripple for so long, but I think that it's also the idea that I think Swift sees the potential here now. And it's only a matter of time until they are utilizing this technology. We even do see our new Swift CEO, Swift's new transaction manager, acts like a bridge and enables CBDC DLT networks to be interlinked, not just with each other, but with existing payment systems, which means when CBDCs get rolled out, they could automatically / immediately scale and be used globally. And you guys can listen closely to this video real quick.
But we are also taking innovation to the next level, and with existing payment systems. And what this means is that as CBDCs will be rolled out, they can automatically, immediately scale. And but in that front, international cooperation is essential. So, well, very pleased. I mean, you may have seen it already, that last week we announced the results of groundbreaking experiments in that field that show essentially that CBDC DLT networks can be interlinked, and not just with each other all over the world, but also with existing payment systems. And what this means is that as CBDCs will be rolled out, they can automatically, immediately scale and be used globally. And all of that, we're achieving it through Swift's new transaction manager that is acting as a bridge. And exciting to see as well that an increasing number of major central banks and commercial banks are joining this sandbox. And we have similar experiments as well going on the security space with leading edge innovation on tokenization. As digital assets mature, they can also be seamlessly exchanged across borders.
And that quote right there, that as digital assets mature, they could also be exchanged cross borders and things like that. Like, we already see that here. Like, everything that we are seeing right now around crypto and the digital asset space, it's already here. I know everyone wants to put a lot of weight on the shoulders of Swift, but I think, like, as we look at what's happening around the world, Swift is having a lot of pressure put on it by the central banks and these, major banks that have been utilizing it for so long. It's very simple, right? Like, we have all it really takes is one major bank to go live with Ripple technology. And I know that a lot of people will say like, oh, like the banks already have, like they've been using it for so long. No, we haven't seen a major bank, like a big, we'll say like a big 4 bank. You know, even if we've seen Bank of America, right? Bank of America, we know Bank of America is really interested in Ripple. All it takes is one to go live with it. Why? Because, as I said, the payments market is extremely, extremely, extremely competitive. You have one bank go live and see the results, and the results are clear. Listen, you can see it. We've seen breakdowns of the results. One bank goes live with it, sees the results, sees how efficient it is. They are instantly competing with the other big 4 banks. They're instantly competing with every single major payment network out there. And when we look at what's happening, it's happening in real time. Things are moving fast. We are seeing regulations being on the forefront right now. That's an obstacle that we need to get over. Once we do get over it, I do think that things are going to align perfectly. I think the dominoes are going to fall in place. And I think that when that does happen, you know, it's not going to be a question on, is Swift using XRP? Is Swift using Ripple technology? It's going to be the question on, when will Swift use RippleNet or use XRP? Or is Swift even a thing anymore? Because again, like, I don't think that they don't need to worry about Swift. They've never worried, like, it was always the idea on like, okay, is Ripple going to be the new Swift? Is Ripple going to be, bigger than Swift? Is, Swift going to cease to exist? It doesn't really matter, because all we already know around Ripple is the fact that they're expanding rapidly. They just acquired a massive giant, and they continue to move faster and faster and faster. And the biggest problem, and I think that this is actually very beneficial about Ripple, the biggest problem around Swift is that they are still directly tied to the US. So think about that. Ripple has no hand in the pot around the US. And, right now the US is in a major battle with Ripple. What if Ripple doesn't, play by the rules in the US? What if Ripple just moves outside of the US? Well, now this company is going to expand rapidly outside of the US. And again, all of those banks outside of the US gain that competitive advantage. Payments is extremely competitive. Ripple is always going to be here. RippleNet technology, it does not lie. You can see the benefits. Many fintechs, many financial institutions out there have already seen the benefits in real time. It's only a matter of time until XRP has clarity. And in my opinion, that is what's going to set everything in place for major adoption of RippleNet utilizing XRP. And we're already seeing digital assets on the forefront of becoming a major key component in the global financial system. To me personally, it's worth the wait. I think that we just need to be a little bit more patient. And in time, I think that things are going to look very different around Ripple with XRP. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. That's been Nick. Peace out, guys.